Oh my gosh. How's everybody doing up there? No nosebleeds, huh? Well, it was a good clip there. I get to see that quite a bit when I talk, and brings back some memories, back when I used to move real well. Age catches up with you, but there's a journey behind that, about how I traveled to get there, and it's not a pretty one. But that journey leads up to me being world champion, and then me being here on stage. I had an opportunity now to work with a lot of kids. But that's also an issue and a problem, which I'll get into a little bit later after I explain to you a little bit about my journey. Because I'm working with kids of that nature, I was one of those kids. At 5 years old, I was born in Warner Robins, Georgia. At 5 years old, had gotten into some trouble at a very young age. At 10 years old, picked up and moved to Napa, California. At 10 years old, had strong arm robbery. I had gotten stabbed and probably 7 different robberies. This is 10 years old. Take a look around at your kids at 10. You can't even imagine them walking out of the house without having chaperone or without someone being with them. I lived out of a car down the street. Parents weren't really worried about where we were at or what we were doing. Now, after I had gotten stabbed, I went to the hospital. They took some fingerprints. Those fingerprints, they always catch up to you. Found out that I had done all these robberies and different things that I was accomplice to. So from the time I was 10 till the time I was 17 years old, I was in placement. Now, I had went to probably six or 7 different placements throughout the United States. And I failed every one of them. And there was a common denominator between failing all those homes was, 1, it was institutionalized. And 2, the people that worked there were working for a paycheck. They weren't really living there. They took shifts. So there's really no love or really any thoughtfulness or even any guidance, per se. It's just basically corralling and keeping us going in the same direction. And I failed all those homes. My last opportunity before I went into California Youth Authority, which was a kids' prison, I had one more shot. And I ended up going to the Shamrock Boys Home. You're getting it now, right? Yeah. I got there. Beautiful home. The group home, which is my father now, he owned the group home. He lived there. There was about 18 boys there. It was a beautiful home. And I remembered going there and feeling like there was an opportunity to change. And even though you see a lot of kids running around who are angry or distraught, and sometimes you look at them and you just say, there's no hope. This kid is out there. But deep down between all that hurt and disappointment and lies, there's a human being down there. And you just have to find that spot that's going to go down there and fix that problem. Now, the one thing that my father did, okay, and which helped thousands of kids, including myself, was that he understood there was an issue. And he needed to find out what that issue was and figure out what it is that kid would be interested in. For one, anger issues. Most of the time it's sports. Kids that were into drugs or depression or any of that other stuff, it was usually artistic. Singing, acting, drawing, any of that stuff to get themselves away from all that disappointment. Now, it worked for me. He directed me towards sports. Needless to say, it took me a long time to figure out there was a whistle in football, and there was a whistle in wrestling, and you had to stop when that whistle was blown. I caught on, though. Once I started learning how to do that stuff, then I started feeling good about myself. I started going, wow, all that anger and all that people saying, I'm going to go nowhere, and you're going to go to prison, and you're going to die, and all these things that were said to me were probably true at that time. But someone had to figure out how to change me, how to direct me in the right direction and not in the wrong direction. And it had to take somebody who cared or somebody who wanted to take the time to find out what that direction was. And that was my father who adopted me. He passed away not too long ago. And when he passed away, I held his funeral. And the one thing that I'll always remember and never forget was the kids that showed up. And they weren't kids anymore, they were grown men. And there was probably about 200 of them. And every single one of them stood up on stage with different sets of problems, in the same position I was, one step out of a kid's prison, and gave their testimony. And it all had one thing in mind, was love and caring and direction, and somebody take the time to direct me in the way I needed to go. That's why I'm here today. That's why I'm seen up on that screen there, becoming world champion. He showed me how to be the kid. He showed me how to direct that anger. He showed me how to stay within the rules, play within the rules, to do all those things to be successful. And we're running into a problem in our world today. And the reason why I'm sharing my story with you is because I want you to know that I've been there, and I've seen it, and I understand it. After I was at the home for a while, I ended up becoming a peer counselor, and I ran the home. And that was in between me going to college. And then after that, I went and owned my own group home and worked with kids. And that was in between me being a professional athlete. And I learned a lot during those times, especially growing up and understanding how to work with kids. And I had success myself with those kids. Now, what we face now is prisons are doubling in every country. There's building more prisons every single year. And we always want to blame it on the system. We want to blame it on this or that. But the problem is, it's our problem. And we rely on the state and the cities and the counties to come up with money for the funding to get these homes open, to get people in there that are going to be credible and people that are going to care. But I think it's our problem. I think it's something we have to be interested in. We're so interested in politics and who's going to be our next president, who's going to be our next senators, and that's all good. But to me, the more important thing is our kids. Our kids are the most important thing, because without them, there is no future. There is no presidents and politics and any of these other things that we heard up here on stage, because it takes people to do that. And even in the United States, where I see it over and over again, is I see homes closing all over, everywhere, because there's no funding. And you can't, there's many places that you can point the finger at. But if we're starting to go out and give monies to different things, why is it don't we give money to our children? I thought about it a little bit, and I'm thinking to myself, what, is there 800,000 people here? Something around there, pretty close, something like that. If each person gave $1, that's $800,000 a month to help our kids. $800,000 for $1 out of your pocket. Now, I'm not asking for your money. I just want you to think about that a little bit. Because that guy you see up on there, if the man hadn't taken time and turned my life around, I would be one of those statistics. I'd have been one of those guys in prison, maybe dead, more than likely, with the anger that I had. So I had an opportunity to come here and speak, and I was very, very, very anxious to do this, because I have a platform to actually speak from, to where I can actually tell you where I've come from and where I've been and what I've done. And then how I got there and the reason why I got there. And we have 100 boys and 100 girls, and the thing that we're trying to do is I'm trying to implement the system that my father taught me and which worked. And the reason why his home closed down was because the state came in and said, you know what? We can't have open cabinets. We can't have an open refrigerator, and we need to make sure that you board up these open beam ceilings, which were beautiful open beam ceilings, and they wanted to put in sprinkler systems, board it up, and institutionalize it. The reason why we were so proud as kids being there was because it was a beautiful home, probably one of the most beautiful homes in Susanville, California. And it was something that we could eventually be proud of, and then they were going to take that away. And he couldn't stomach the idea of running another juvenile system. We have an opportunity here, and I have an opportunity here to be able to, like I was talking to some of these guys, is that we have an opportunity, and this is just getting started with me. So you're going to hear more about this here and overseas. Is that we have an opportunity to invest in our kids. We have an opportunity to invest and keep them safe. And I know we see these kids sometimes, and we look at them, and to us, it just looks like this rebellious kid, and you just don't want to be around him. But I promise you, there's a person down there. Because if you would have saw me at 10 years old or 13 years old, you'd have turned around and ran the other way. Wouldn't want anything to do with me. But that's the way it starts. And I had an opportunity to come up here and speak, and I'm asking you guys right here to think about that. Because I know it's the same here. I know there's kids here that are in trouble all the time. I know the systems are growing here. They are all over the world because I think it's a disease and it's spreading. And it's something because of the fame that I've been given and the opportunities I've been given, I have a chance to make a difference. And I hope that you guys would understand that you also have a chance to make a difference. And I hope that what I'm doing, which I'm going to be, it's going to take some time, and with your support, I will be able to do that. But I'm hoping that this thing is just not a United States thing, and just not an England thing, and just not a Russia thing, or Germany thing, or wherever it's going. That it's going to be a world thing, because children all over the world have to have help. Some of them are different. I went over to Africa. I have a Lions Den ministry where I travel over to Africa, and I talk to different kids over there who are not in the same situation that we're talking about with troubled youth, but still troubled youth. Not getting in trouble, though, but just there's nowhere to live, and there's no food, and there's no water. That it just doesn't stick to one area. It's just going to spread. But the only way that happens is if I can get the people as excited about their kids and about kids that they know as they do about politics, sports, and everything else in the world, because it is a big issue and something that we're going to have to deal with sooner or later, and I would rather it be sooner. I don't want to take up too much time here. I don't even know how much time I got here. But I just want to make sure that I had an opportunity to speak with you. I really appreciate the time, and I really appreciate being able to come here and speak with all these brilliant minds up here. I mean, I saw some of the speakers early today, and it's just incredible to see some of the out-of-box thinking. It's just tremendous. But with that being said, let's not forget about the simple things. Let's not forget about the things that we love most. I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity here. I hope that I have gotten my message across. If not, I'll come back and do it again. But again, I appreciate all you guys coming here and listening to what I have to say. If you have any questions, or if you're interested, and I hope someday you will be, interested in getting involved in something like this, you can get on my website. You can find any information you need. Again, thank you so much for your opportunity and time. God bless you all.